Hi everyone, welcome to Unicorn Dust Designs. If you're clicking on this video for the first time, welcome. My name is Sammy. This is Christmas in July, so I wanted to finish it off with a compilation video of, I'll say some of my favorites. Definitely not all of my favorite Christmas DIYs I've ever done, but this is gonna get you going. It's gonna get you inspired. So I hope you guys enjoy it. I hope you guys stick around till the end. And let's get started with these Christmas in July DIYs.
It was so cute. I'm taking a piece of wood. Again, don't know the measurements. Somebody suggested I keep a tape measure by my craft table, and I do. I guess I am trying to do my DIYs while the baby's sleeping, and sometimes I just don't think of it, so I apologize. Now I'm taking one of these stamps. This is also IOD. I haven't used this one actually at all this season. I think I'll be using it a lot more in the winter. And just to show you, the IOD stamps come completely empty, and then you get the bottle of the ink and you fill your own pads. And it's nice because there is still a ton left in the bottle after you fill your initial pad. This is tomato once again. So after I painted that scrap piece of wood with Cashew by Waverly, I'm taking this beautiful stamp with tomato and I'm going to stamp that right onto my piece of wood. And oh my gosh, the details in these stamps always blow my mind. I will probably always say that and repeat myself, but like I'm always blown away when I use one for the first time and just see the details in here. So I'm lining that up the best that I can, pressing that down with my finger while I'm holding it with the other hand. And oh, is that not beautiful? And you could use this stuff on clothes, glass, everything. I really wanted to use the bear, but then I was like, he's going to cover up the whole stamp. So we go with what Connie used. And this again is a IOD transfer. I know Vonda is sold out of this one, so if y'all know any other stockists that happen to have this on hand right now, please feel free to comment them down in the description box, in the comments, so other people could potentially find these as well. Now, after I put that little guy on there, isn't he cute? I'm going to grab another stamp, and it says, I think, cozy something, stay cozy. And I put some green ink, also from IOD, on there. And you guys, look at how stinking cute this dang thing turned out. And I just wipe my stamps off with a baby wipe if I'm using actual ink. And this is how it turned out. I love the way the layering worked together on this. Again, Connie is fabulous at using IOD, painting, the layering of products. I love how this turned out. I'm definitely keeping it for myself. And we are going to take two pieces of the tile. We are going to stick them together. This just helps kind of get you started with the cutting process. Now I'm going to take a ruler. These are 12 by 12 pieces, so your middle is obviously going to be your 6-inch mark. And then we are just going to cut that to the side, and this didn't cut all the way through, so I ended up having to get scissors and cut it out, just so you guys know. So after I'm done cutting that side out, you are going to go over to your right side and you're going to do the exact same thing. Go to your 6-inch mark, cut that out. Now, since these are a perfect 12 by 12 sheet, you just have to cut 3-inch sections, and they're actually kind of mapped out for you. So you could see where that line, see in that middle image, that line right across, cut it. The line right here at the point at the top, you're going to cut across that. Now I'm going to lay these out and take them outside. I'm going to spray them with the Rust-Oleum hammered. Is that Rust-Oleum? Anyways, the hammered paint, let that dry thoroughly because it takes a while. Then I'm going to take my IOD green ink and I'm going to stamp that on. I didn't know what I was doing here, you guys. I was like, this is either going to come out super ugly and like look dingy, or it's going to be pretty. Let me tell you, this turned out gorgeous with this ink. I don't know what gave me the idea to use green, but it looked gorgeous. So now we're just going to dry all of that down. And I definitely didn't watch either of their videos. I just saw the picture and said, I can do that. So they might have an easier way of putting this together, but I'm showing you mine. So for the base, I'm just using this wood piece. It's from Hobby Lobby. I did that little X shape to find the middle, drilled a hole, put a skewer in there. And oh, sorry, you guys, you need a skewer, you need a base, and you need 4 large beads. So for me, I put the skewer in there and then I hot glued my first piece towards the bottom. This to me was going to be my like guide if I took the skewer out and then, you know, attached everything. But I decided to leave the skewer in because it gave me a better idea of positioning everything. So here's me, I'm just trying to like test out if all my beads are going to fit and all my pieces are going to fit. So now I'm just going to hot glue the second tile piece to the back of the first one I glued. And I'm not, you'll notice, I'm not gluing the tile pieces together. I am just gluing them to the skewer. And this is when I decide, you know what, I'm just going to put my super glue and put my skewer in there now. And then, you know, build up. So here's our second piece. Again, applying that hot glue right to the middle, applying it to the skewer. Then I turn it around and I get the second piece. Because remember, we had 2 pieces of tile. So we have 2 pieces of each section. I'm going to glue that to the skewer. Then I'm going to put my wood bead on. You do not need to hot glue your wood beads. They ain't going nowhere. I will say though, I barely had enough room to do my tree. So you would need more length in your skewer if you wanted to do it this way versus, you know, Barb or Heidi's way. So again, we're going to put that third piece on, put our remaining bead on. Now for the top point, I do hot glue the tile pieces together. And I did that because I hardly had any of my skewer left and I did not want this to fall off. So you can see I'm applying the hot glue and then y'all, this is done. And look at how beautiful this turned out. And notice like the green ink on there almost looks like a bronze or something. I love this. I think it turned out so beautiful and I love that I was able to make it my own but mix the two. Now, if you guys are new to my channel, I included 2 tile DIYs that I have done previously. So if you haven't seen those, stick around. We're going to start with this very old piece of wood and I am going to get my elephant gray and I'm going to paint the front, the backs, and the sides. Then I go in with white by Waverly and I will do the entire board with just a messy coat. Now we are going to get another transfer out. I'm going to use this deer transfer. I'm making this like exactly like hers because I loved it. And I am going to use my little scraper tool that comes with the IOD transfers. And I am going to scrape as I pull up on that image, leaving this beautiful deer. Is it a deer or a buck? Anywho, now I'm going to take this stamps. These stamps come in a set of 4. Oh, the baby just woke up, you guys. And this one almost looks like a scratched surface. And I'm using the stone gray for this. And I'm going to put it all around our deer / buck, you guys tell me. Now, after I'm done with that one, she goes in. Do you see the one right here on the right? This actually makes it look like crackled paint. So I use that around the edges of this sign. And I was like, you know what? This is missing something. I felt like hers had more like of a detail to it. And then I realized it's these little transfers. They almost look like scrolls with like vines on them. And it just adds that right amount of detail that it needs. And again, it's just things that I wouldn't think to like add to this sign, or like how she layered all of these different elements together. And it just opens your eyes to the creativity that like you can do with other projects on your own. So I love the way this turned out. I think a lot of these pieces I'm keeping for myself around my home. Maybe I'll even gift them to my neighbors. I don't really know their style. Maybe I'll have to go creep at their house, like invite myself over or something. or maybe I shouldn't. So this first one we're going to paint with white chalk paint. We're going to do the front, the back, and the sides of all of them when we paint. Then I'm going to take this painter's tape and I am going to go at an angle. I'm going for like the candy cane stripe look, okay? So you can see as I'm going around, it's not really giving me that many stripes. So I'm going to take that roll and I'm just going to start at another point. So you'll see right here in the middle, we're going to do another one. Now I'm not painting the back, so that's why I'm not fully wrapping it. Then I'm going to put a piece of tape on the ends of each side as well, just to get more stripes in there because I didn't think 3 was enough. So once that is held down very well, then we are going to take Imperial Red by Folk Art, which is an acrylic paint. Now, I have only been able to find this at Hobby Lobby. I can never find it at my Walmart. So that's where I get this one. It's the perfect Christmas red and it is matte. So I am just taking my synthetic brush. These are Folk Art brushes I get at Walmart. And I am going to paint the front, the sides, and then I do paint the back. Maybe I don't. No, I didn't do the back. And then I am going to take that painter's tape off, and it only bled where like the wood was super rough. But other than that, I got some pretty clean lines out of this. And you can see how it gives us our candy cane striping. Now I'm going to take this wood disc. I get these at Walmart. We're going to take our chalkboard paint from Dollar Tree. And I will say that using a synthetic brush is your best option. Sponge rollers or regular like chippy brushes leave texture on these. So I highly recommend using synthetic brush when dealing with the chalkboard paint. Now I'm going to do 2 coats. The first coat kind of absorbs into the wood, and then the second coat is going to go on top, and then that's what's going to be like our final product. So you could see, and let it cool down before applying that second coat. Now I am just, this is such a crooked angle. I am finding the middle point of our 2x4. I'm just going to apply it on there with hot glue. And then we are going to, what I should have done, you guys, too, was clear the striped block before I put the chalkboard sign on. Now for this one, we're going to do antique green, front, back, sides, all of it. I'm going to grab that gold wax that I've been obsessed with from DIY, and we are going to apply that all over these edges. Isn't that so gorgeous? I wanted this one to be a little bit more simple, so you can see I'm dragging it around those edges, bringing it in at the sides, and then I do put some on the top as well. Now for our biggest 2x4, we're going to take that Imperial Red and cover the entire thing. Then I get the end of a paintbrush and I'm going to do very small polka dots. Now I could have used a dauber or something like that, but I wanted them to be very small, very subtle dots. That way the text that we put on here is what stands out the most. And you guys, the color options for this DIY are absolutely endless. So now I'm taking the words that I cut from my Cricut, and let me tell you, this Christmas, I love how it's cursive, but it's bold. A lot of the Christmas fonts, cursive fonts are like really thin. I love that this one stands out so much. And then we'll put Days Until on our green one. Very beautiful. And then we need to season that little chalkboard. So you take a piece of chalk and you just rub it over, and then you're going to wipe it off with a paper towel, and this way your chalkboard does not stain. And look at how cute these turned out. I am obsessed with the colors that were chosen. I was a little concerned the block on top was going to be too little compared to the rest, but I think it's very fitting. This is so easy for the kids just to take down and write when they're ready. So I hope this inspires you to make. So you guys, these won't be on my website because I'm totally keeping them. Now, you guys might look at this and be like, those aren't spindles. When I thought of this video, I immediately thought of these. I consider these spindles, maybe because they're legs to something. I don't know. I didn't look up the definition to spindles. Anyways, I am using Prairie Gray by DIY Paints, and you guys have seen me use this, I think, once before, and it is such a gorgeous color as it dries down. Now, remember, DIY paint is clay base, it's matte, it's water soluble, so it does dry down to be a lighter color. So I'm going to cover these. At first I thought I was going to keep them their original color, but I had to like sand the sides down and stuff. So I was like, you know what? We're going for Prairie Gray. So after I'm done doing that, oh, look at the wax. I'm grabbing that wax again and I am going to put it on all, you guys, check this out. I know I probably sound silly with how excited I am about this, but you know, it's the little things in life, y'all. And this is it. So again, I'm just applying with my finger and I am trying to hit all of the details first, a little heavier than I will like the smoother spots. And the same thing, like I'll go around like those rounded edges, like anything to make those details pop out at you. Excuse me, that is where we are going to put this. Then as you'll see, as I get up top, like how I'm heavier around the detail, and then I kind of just get the excess that is on my finger and I like kind of just rub it over those smoother parts to just get a little bit of that shiny, shimmery look on the candle. And this gray, I was worried that the gold and the gray wouldn't look that great, but I think it looks so good. And then like we did with the spindles, I am taking the DIY clear wax. You don't want to dip your brush in DIY products. Something about they have like a natural property in them and they could build bacteria. I don't know. Don't quote me. Go watch Upcycled by Brie for more information on these. I like to know, like, think I know what I'm talking about, you guys. And then y'all check me in comments. So I read them. I know. So I'm going to clear this entire thing. And like I said, like the wax does make the color darker again. And then when it does dry down, it dries down a little lighter, but not so much. You are going to have a darker paint color. Now, after I'm done with this, I got these trees from Hobby Lobby. I didn't mean to buy stuff for this video, but the Dollar Tree trees were too small. And then these, oh my gosh, they're gorgeous. Anyways, so I drilled a hole on the top of this and then I put some of my Star Bond super glue in there. And then I just stuck the little metal post down into that spindle. And then I do the same thing for the other one. And y'all, I have a third one of these and I bought a white Christmas tree. So yeah, I need to complete this trio here. So you could see I'm just drilling a hole down. You could see the metal piping, or I don't know what this is called, right there. And it just goes in there so perfectly. And then we want to secure it down so it doesn't come out of there with our Star Bond super glue. And look at how beautiful these turned out. Oh my gosh. Oh my word. These make my heart so very happy. I love that they're, a different color. It's not just like your standard green or red for Christmas, yet it definitely screams Christmas vibes, which I love. Imagine this on a tablescape with some other things. Gorga. All right, you guys. So our next one we are going to take, next one's going to be a little tougher here. I am going to use my IOD molds and I'm going to use the amazing resin. I did add this to my Amazon store link. I will say that Hobby Lobby has it for $4 cheaper though. Okay, so I'm going to mix my resin equal parts A to be, and then you're going to stir it for 40 seconds, and then you're going to start pouring. I recently did a video and went into more depth, so definitely check that out. I will try to remember to link it in the description box. And then I am going to start pouring my molds. I will say I do read your guys' comments. Thank you so much. A lot of you said that these are still I guess bendable and can go on curved surfaces. You can either microwave them for like 30 seconds to kind of get them flimsy, or you can take them out like right as they're like almost dry and do that. Somebody else has also said after they, you take them out, you can hit them with your heat gun for a little bit to get them soft again and then apply them to a curved surface. So I can't wait to try that. I always learn something new from you guys, so I appreciate your comments and for teaching me. So right here, you can see we're pouring that in, and then they'll start firming up. It only takes about 10 minutes. You can see it's already turning white for me. These do dry white, so I will say that. Now I'm going to pop them out of their molds, and the craziest thing, you guys, these to the touch are so hot. I didn't realize that the last set I did. I don't know if it's because I like waited longer until they were dry, but yeah, these are really, really hot. So after they were just about dry, I popped some of them out while they were like almost to the point so that I could see if they bend. So this one turned out absolutely amazing. Y'all know iron orchids molds, like they are so detailed and stunning. Look at this. Can you see that? I know it's white. You'll see it later when I put the wax over it. Okay, so look at this one. See, I took it out when it wasn't completely dry and it was bendable. So I'm taking these trays. You guys, tell me what these trays are for. They said made in Japan. I would assume they're kind of some kind of serving tray. Anywho, I am going to repurpose these by, I am using my Starbond glue, putting them on my board. I wish I would have made a third one for this green, but it all worked out. I'm using Monet's Garden by DIY Paint. Get that at upcycledbybrie.com. Links in the description box. Once that is dry, can you guys hear the family going crazy? I decided I wanted to see the wood on the side, so that easily sanded off. I cleaned it with a baby wipe and it was just as good as new. This one is Prairie Gray, I believe, from DIY Paints. Did the same thing. Now I'm taking, if you guys did not know I was going to use the gold wax, then y'all don't know me. If you are new to my channel, hi, my name is Sammy. I'm addicted to this gold wax. You could get it at Upcycled by Brie. So I am taking my finger and I'm rubbing it on those ornaments, and you could just see, if you guys can't tell, I'm smiling right now because these are just so beautiful and they make me so happy. And I just love how the details come alive. I'm also going to run my finger around the outsides of this and then the inner circle. I like doing that because I just feel like it really brings all of the details and the shapes of the piece to life. Like you can see before the green and then adding the gold, just how it outlines this so beautifully. And then I do the same thing. And let me tell you, this prairie gray and the gold together are stunning. I did these on a pair of spindles with Christmas trees. Gorgeous. Look at this one. Do you see that detail? Oh my gosh. It's the little things in life that just make you so happy. And this is one of them. And then I'm going to hit that again all the way around. One thing I did not show, I do clear these with Clear Wax by DIY. You can also spray these with Clear Matte by Rust-Oleum as well. Now, you guys, I'm so sorry. I'm hot gluing the sawtooth hanger on. Don't judge me. I should have done that first so I could have nailed them in properly, but I did not want to damage my ornament pieces by hammering something. So I ended up just gluing the sawtooth hangers on, and this is how beautiful these turned out. I think they're so stunning. It was a great way to repurpose what I'm going to call trays into beautiful vintage home decor for Christmas time. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. So I'm just taking the tile piece from Dollar Tree. I'm just tracing on the back of it with my ornament. It fit perfectly back there. Now make sure when you're tracing these and you start cutting, cut inside the line, not outside the line if you want like an exact fit. Now I'm taking my Star Bond super glue and I am going to hit all of the raised pieces of this tile. So there's sunken down pieces, and then those raised up pieces we want to hit with the glue because they're going to touch our wood ornament. Then I just line with a little bit of hot glue. I probably didn't need this, but you know, added security. Now I'm going to take that Monet's Garden by DIY paint and I am going to give this one coat of paint. Make sure when you're doing something like this that you're hitting all of the edges on the side as well. Now you could paint the back or you could even cover the back with paper if you choose to. Now you guys, I think you knew this was coming. I'm taking that gold gilded wax that I used in a previous video and I just dip my finger in there. I'm sure depending on the project, you can get a brush and you can do like that dry brushing technique that I do with like the dark wax and the white wax. But you know what? I really like just using my finger. That way I could really control how much is going on there and where I want to put it. But y'all, like, are you seeing this come to life right now? This is stunning. It's gorgeous. I love all those beautiful details. You would never, ever assume both of these pieces came from Dollar Tree, ever. And look at, oh my gosh. Doesn't that look like vintagey heaven? All right, now I'm taking this tote bag that I had already used in a previous project. I'm going to take this vintage Christmas stamp. This is from the IOD Christmas collection last year. I'm going to cut a strip of this off. Easy peasy. Make sure my stamp fits on there. Now, I attach, this is just an idea. I didn't end up using it though, but I get some twine and then I just fold over the bottom. That way, if I needed to hang it off of something, I was able to. We end up cutting it off later, but whatever. All right, and then now I'm going to take my IOD ink pad and I am going to stamp that. This was really hard just holding the stamp without like my kitchen mat to hold on to it. But look at how beautiful this font is. Oh my word. All right. So now I'm just taking a baby wipe and I'm taking some of that dark wax and just going around the edges so it doesn't look so like new and shiny. I want it to go with the vibe here. Now I'm just going to take a twine. I just looped it up. That's going to be our hanger for the back. I did not want to poke a hole through the front of this for hanging. Okay, now I get some of these. I don't know where these came from. Mama Mickey sent these to me a couple years ago now, and I chose to go with this one. I brought a couple of them up, but I ended up going with the one with like the present and stuff. I thought it looked more vintage-y, I guess. Let me know if you would have put this on there or maybe something else. So I just hold it up there and I put a lot of hot glue on there and I have to hold it down for a while because this little greenery piece is pretty heavy. I also get my detail glue gun and go under there to make sure everything is touching the ornament. Now I get our little tag. Like I said, I didn't end up needing the twine, so I cut that off and then I just glued that down right there. And y'all, look at how beautiful this turned out. So perfect. If you love that vintagey vibe, I am obsessed with this. The green, the gold, I think that the greenery up top just matches it so perfectly. Let me know what you think about this down in the comments, and hopefully you can find these pieces and make it yourself.
This piece of wood. But I'm taking Celery by Waverly, painting the front, the back, the sides. Y'all know the jam. Now I'm going to take the Antique Wax by Waverly in a stencil brush. I'm going to hit all of the edges, and then I am going to go over any of the parts of the raw wood that are still showing. I am trying to get an older distressed look. Then I will take a paper towel and I'll wipe all that excess wax off. And you could already see how this is coming to life for me. Now we're going to grab that chippy paint stamp that I used in last week's video.
art this week's video. And then I'm going to use that stone gray and I'm going to put it around the edges. I love this layering technique. I'm so glad I learned it. And you'll see more of it once you see the final product. Now, I'm taking a basic lead pencil. I'm going to sketch out, you guys, I am no Bob Ross, but I'm going to try to explain this as best as I can. So we're going to sketch out a long rectangle. Then we're going to do a really short pitch on top of our rectangle. Now I'm going to go on to the second level. And again, we are making another rectangular shape, leaving the other side of the rectangle off. I told you I'm not Bob Ross here. And then we are doing another very low pitch on top of this. Now, you guys, if it involves a ruler, most likely I wouldn't be doing this. So this is all freehand. If it's crooked, it's crooked. No big deal, okay? Now we just put a little triangle on top of that. Then I'm going to grab my white paint and a synthetic brush. I am going to try and just stay inside the lines. If you smear that lead pencil, it's totally fine because we're going to go back to that lead pencil later. So I'm just trying to stay as close as I can inside. But if you go outside, it's totally fine. I apologize if I keep repeating myself. I have a super scratchy throat and I have to keep on stopping and starting again. So my apologies. So like I was saying, you don't have to be perfect. This is a hand-painted sign and I think it turns out wonderful either way. Now that I'm done painting the entire thing, I'm going to go over to the pitches of the church and I'm going to give them a little bit more definition. Now, you could leave it like this and it'll look beautiful, but I'm going to go back over everything with my lead pencil once again. And you guys, this is like a standard lead pencil. I don't have like art pencils, or I don't even know if they're called art pencils, but anyways, I'm going to draw back over that and then I just rub my finger over the lead pencil markings. I think this creates a shadow. It gives the church more definition. But like I said, you do you. If you liked it just white, leave it just white. And I'm going to follow that all the way up the church and outline all of the pieces once again. Now we're going to go back to the front and we're going to make another long rectangular shape. And then we'll put a line down the middle for our door. Now you can make this like an arch door. This is just the easiest door that you can probably do. So that's why I went for it. And again, I just smear it with my finger. Now we're going to do a cross at the top, or you could do a window. Do you, okay? Then I drew a little circle just as a guide. I'm going to take the butt end of my paintbrush and that Celery by Waverly, and I am going to dab on this paint color. I'm going to follow that all the way around this circle, trying to cover any of my pencil marks. Then I take Crimson by Waverly and I put a few of those in here just to kind of make it look a little Christmassy. I spray it with some Clear Matte by Rust-Oleum and I'm done. Does this look like absolutely perfect? No, it doesn't. It's definitely crooked, but that's okay. It was done by hand. I personally think it looks gorgeous. I love the way that it came out. And do you see that like chippy paint on the right side? I like it. So hopefully it inspires you to try out some hand painting yourself. We're going to use those Dollar Tree tiles again. We're going to take 2 wood rounds. I just like grabbed random stuff from my stash. And I'm going to trace them on the back of these tile pieces. And these are going to be our 2 pieces for our little vintage snowman. So I'm just going to cut those out. And then I'm also taking these pieces of cardboard from like calendars and I'm doing the same thing, tracing the circles out onto them. These will be our backings for our tile pieces since they're not very thick. I'll cut all of those out. Now I'm just going to hot glue those onto our cardboard. This is just going to make it like stiff and not flimsy. Okay, so after I'm done hot gluing the pieces onto our cardboard rounds, Then I'm going to take my plaster again. We're going to do the same thing we did with the Christmas trees. I'm going to stipple that on. We're going to do 2 coats on each of the rounds. Now I'm going to take a tile piece. I'm going to cut a big rectangle out of it and just size it up on your snowman here to determine how big you want your hat. Then I'm going to take a second piece. I'm going to cut like a long skinny rectangle to be the brim of our snowman's hat. I'm going to attach the 2 together. And after I'm done with that, I'm going to grab Rich Black by Folk Art and I'm going to stipple that on. I only need 1 coat of this. And then you guys guessed it, I'm going to grab that DIY. Well, first I'm going to grab I'm going to grab the gray wax, then the white wax by DIY, and I am going to brush that over and just look at how gorgeous all that detail is that comes out. I could watch this over and over again when that happens. All right, now we're going to attach our snowman body and head with some hot glue. It sticks super, super easy. I just reinforced it a little bit more on the back so it doesn't separate. Next, I'm going to attach the hat. And of course, we have to accessorize the snowman. So I get a Dollar Tree scarf. I'm going to cut a smaller piece out of it. Now, this is going to sound weird and I don't know if it's going to make sense, but I wanted the little tassels on the scarf. So to do that, I'm like kind of measuring this out, seeing how long, I don't know, this isn't going to make sense. You'll see it. Just watch, okay? So I cut a piece out with the tassel on, you could see. I'm going to cut this extra piece off, hot glue my scarf. Now that other piece that had the tassels, I'm going to glue onto the snowman. That way, both of my scarf pieces look like one scarf with tassels. Okay, hope you were picking up what I was putting down because I definitely did not explain that very well. All right, so I'll hot glue the front right there. Then we're going to add some accessories to our hat. I mean, we need accessories on our hat, especially glitter during Christmas time. So these are just some picks I believe I got from Walmart last year, and I'm just deconstructing them. I'm going to put a pine cone there. Then I'm going to take some berries, and the berries I'll put inside that little green piece. And the last thing we do is just take some twine. I'm going to put it on the back of the snowman head. I like to hide my twine behind the entire image, and this is how it comes out. That, you guys, is stinking cute. I love all of the detail. This could be a door hanger if you wanted to. You can sell these at craft fairs. I mean, there's so many things you could do with them.
Popping back in to see if you are enjoying this video so far. All right, you guys, so Christmas in July. I love it. I've done it once a week. So if you want to see new Christmas in July DIYs, look past, or I'll maybe link them in my description box for you guys. But I can't wait to like full on start crafting for Christmas because I only took out a little bit of stuff for July. So I hope you guys are enjoying the content. I am selling DIY paint products now. So any of the paint that you see me using in this video is available for purchase on my website, unicorndustdesigns.com. So check that out. And y'all know the drill. If you're digging me, if you are digging the DIYs, if you're digging the channel, then make sure to like and subscribe. And y'all, commenting is an absolutely free way you can help my channel grow. It lets YouTube know that you're enjoying the content and they're more likely to push it out to other people. So check out all of my links down in the description box, you guys. I hope you enjoyed this last Christmas in July video. And then we are going to be starting fall. I know, it's crazy. It's summer and we're starting fall, but it's happening. All right, you guys, let's get back into the video.
All right, now we're going to try something different. So I'm going to take this box. So I posted for my members asking them what I should do with this box. And I showed them the image I was going to use. Y'all said that you wanted me to keep the box basically as is. But you know how like when you ask like your spouse, like, hey, where should we go for dinner? And they actually respond. And then you're like, no, let's go here for dinner. That's basically what I did with this. Okay. So this is what it looked like before. If any of you guys were wondering, I'm going to take it outside, spray it with a red spray paint, and then I am going to clear it. Now I come back inside, I take my sanding block and I tried distressing the edges, but since I applied the clear coat to it wasn't really happening for me. So I do end up going in later and distressing it with white. Now I'm going to tape the inside of the frame off right here. And I am going to use that white swan by DIY. Now, make sure you always read the instructions when you are using IOD products so that they are used the right way. Now, here are the paint inlays, okay? These are absolutely amazing. So I am going to cut as close to my image as I can. I already sized and make sure that it fit. Now I'm going to take a second coat of this paint. Now, when you are using paint inlays, you have to work fast. So you either need to hurry up and paint your piece or paint it in sections because this layer of paint needs to be wet. So what I did here was I did my second coat. I am working with a smaller piece, so I didn't necessarily have to do this in sections. Now you want this to be nice and a smooth coat. Now I take this paint inlay, I lay it on the wet paint, and essentially what these paint inlays are is it is a painted picture and it's going to infuse with that wet paint. And what I'm doing right here is spritzing it with water, and then I'm tapping it down. I'm wanting to make sure that I'm pressing that image into the wet paint. Now, the mistake I made was, one, I put too heavy of a coat of paint on, and then I was pressing so hard on my image that the paint was kind of like coming out from underneath my inlay. So just use a softer hand and you don't have to go so crazy with your coat of paint. Now that it is completely dry time will vary, we are going to take a spray bottle of water and you're going to spritz that again. This is going to help release that paper from the paint. So you're going to see right here how I bring it up. All right. And look at how that transferred on to our paint. Now, it might not be perfect and you might need to get the hang of it. Always as well, keep this piece of paper because you could reuse these a second time. Now, they're not going to show up as vibrant as the first time, but you can use that a second time. Now, I was trying to fix my mistake because you could see like where my line of paper was because I pushed that paint out to the side. So what I did was I'm taking my spray bottle, I'm spritzing it onto my image, taking a paintbrush, and I'm going to almost like do like a stippling effect, I guess you could say, on it, and it's going to turn it into what looks like a watercolor. So these are just like the DIY paints, water soluble. So when I put on that water, it's activating that paint and then I'm able to blend it. And do you see how this almost looks like it's turning into a watercolor painting? Now you don't have to do this. Your image could come out totally fine. Mine, I was essentially trying to hide the stuff going on the sides, and then was like, you know what, this looks really pretty blended in. So that's what I ended up doing, and here is the piece after everything was said and done. And I guess I didn't show, but I distressed obviously the frame of this with some white paint to tie it all in, and I love this. There are so many other paint inlays too, you guys, and you'll see more of them throughout the season for sure. But look at how beautiful those molds. But I do have the holly molds and I have yet to use them for the holiday season. So I'm using my amazing resin. You guys, I'm like addicted to this stuff now. I don't know if I'll ever go back to air dry clay. And it is just a 50-50 ratio. You stir it for 40 seconds and then you start pouring it in your molds. This dries within 5 minutes, and I've learned so much from you guys in the comments. So, I mean, if you see something I'm doing and you know that like there's an easier or better way to do it, leave it in the comments because I do read them and I appreciate all of your guys' feedback and constructive criticism. So after this is the box I use. You could get it at Hobby Lobby, and then they sell it on Amazon. It's in my link, but it's $4 more. Look at this, you guys. It does turn white, so it does not dry clear, but it dries so fast. And I've learned that from you guys that if you pop them out when they are like almost to the point of like being all the way cured, you can still like bend these and mold them to curved surfaces. So thank you all for that information. So those were just extra ones that I made because I did too much resin. This holly piece is what we are going to use. Oh my gosh, so much detail. And we are going to use this scrap piece of wood. I'm going to apply our holly on with some tight bond wood glue, and then I'm going to put some hot glue on there so we can get an immediate hold and we can keep working through our project. And oh my gosh, you guys, I think this one's my favorite. Y'all let me know which one you like the most in the comments. So now I'm taking Plaster by Waverly and a brand new chip brush. Please tell me why I did that, because all it kept doing was getting bristles everywhere. But we need the chip brush. I like using it for molds because it gets in all of those details. Now here you go. Take a screenshot. Of course, I had already lost my measuring tape and it was the same day, couple hours. I don't know. Okay, so after this, I'm going to take this family stencil that I cut for my Cricut. I'm using my Ornament A13 stencil vinyl that's in my Amazon store link down in the description box. We are going to line this up. Now, y'all, I tried the Frisco transfer tape that you guys have recommended in the past. I finally bought some, and I like it. Will I fully switch from my vinyl use? No way, Jose. Like, no way. This is nice, but it was too sticky for my taste. Now I'm going to take ink by Waverly and my Dollar Tree stencil brush, and I'm going to go ahead and stipple that on there. I only have to do one coat. We are going to allow that to dry, and then we will take that off, and let me tell you, not one bleed. Bam. All right, so now we're going to take that clear wax by DIY, and I'm going to put that all over the mold and then all over the sign. Some people have asked if you still have to clear the sign with anything afterwards. No, your wax is your sealer. So after I put the clear wax on everything, you guys know I had to do the dark wax on this mold. So taking a stencil brush from Dollar Tree, I am pouncing that in there. I'm getting it in all of those beautiful details as much as I could. And and now I'm going to take it and put it all over the sign. Now remember, I did the clear wax first, so this is going to make it a lot more movable for us. Now look at this. I take that paper towel, start rubbing all that excess off, and look at that mold come to life. Oh my word, it'll never get old, you guys. It will never get old how stunning these are, especially when you're using like different color waxes and then you see all of those beautiful details pop out at you. Can't get enough of it, and I can't get enough of this gold wax. What would this have been without this gold wax? So I start rubbing it on top of this holly, and oh my gosh, it is just so beautiful. I cannot wait to put this up in the living room this season. And then I go ahead and I just take it, I put it around, and then I just put the lightest coat all over the sign to bring all of the shimmer together. And look at how gorgeous this is. And it goes with all of the decor that like I've made in the past with like the prairie gray, the dark green, the golds. Oh, you are stunning. And you guys know all of my IOD links are down in the description box where I get them. Now on to, but anywho, so this is the ornament we're going to use. We're going to pop that top off. You don't want to completely bend it or anything because you are going to reuse that. And then we are going to take our tile piece, and these are so easy to use, you guys, and they do have a strong adhesive. Let me know if you've used these like on walls and if they've held up pretty well, because I kind of want to try it in the new house. Okay, so again, you guys, I just traced it out, cut it out. I'm using that Star Bond glue again. This is like a super glue. And then I will do a little, strand of hot glue around the edges as well. Stick that on. Then I'm going to use that Crimson by Waverly paint. And this one I do 2 coats of, because I don't want to see any of the silver coming through on this. And again, remember to paint those edges. You don't want to see the brown MDF edges when you have this beautiful red paint. And then the same thing with the top of the ornament, because we are going to paint that silver a brownish color. You want to make sure you get those edges too. All right, so I was trying to go for a rusted look, y'all, and I use Burnt Umber by Apple Barrel and then Pumpkin by Waverly. Now, usually when I do this, I use Truffle by Waverly and Pumpkin, and it gives me a completely different rusted look that I love. This ended up just coming out looking like Burnt Umber, which I wasn't digging, but I went with it anyways because it does end up like going with the flow with our entire ornament. But if you want a rusted look, go for the chalk paints, not this acrylic paint. All right, so now I'm taking that DIY dark wax, and look at this. Oh my gosh. So I'm just taking my Dollar Tree stencil brush, I'm dipping it in that wax, and you can see how this ornament comes to life. All of those beautiful details pop out. I think that's what I love most about these tile pieces, is just they are so beautiful, especially if you're painting over them and then putting another layer on top to bring out that detail. It just looks very upscale, and I don't know. I think they're stunning. I think I said stunning a million times in this video. So sorry, not sorry. Okay. So after I'm done with that, we will go ahead and reattach that topper. And I thought about, you guys, because in the picture, in the inspiration photo, she has a big bow. I wasn't down with that big bow on this ornament. So then I tried like a raffia bow. I tried some greenery. And then I was like, why are we forcing it? Okay. Not everything needs a bunch of everything. Like, it is absolutely gorgeous on its own. So that's the way I ended up leaving it. Let me know if you would have put greenery, if you would have put the big bow, like the inspiration picture, or what you would have done to accessorize it, or if you would have just left it as it is, because look at that. Oh, I love it. Okay, here's you to make some of your own. For this 2x4 project, you're going to need 4 2x4s of varying sizes. You're going to place your shorter one to the side, and then with the 3 remaining, we are going to paint black or paint it the color of your choosing. I think blue would look really great for this project too. So after that is dry, I am going to take the shortest one, and we are going to build ourselves a snowman just like we did the other week. So I am painting this all white, front, back, and sides. You don't need to do the top. Then I'm taking the Dollar Tree scarf, and I have to say I preferred the scarf over the regular like cotton fabric that I used on the last snowman. And then I'm going to roll up the front so that we don't see like that little raw edge, and it just looks more like a beanie, I think. And then we are going to take the hot glue, and we are going to hot glue the back to your piece of wood on both sides. Next, I take a piece of twine, and I am going to double knot this up top. Now you can stick cotton balls in this or a paper towel if you want the beanie to look more full, but I have to say I didn't have a issue with that because the like scarf fabric was a lot thicker. I liked the way it looked. So now we are going to take that sponge brush, and if you remember last week, I used this to create dots, and like I've said before, you can use daubers. This is just what I had near me, so it's a great little hack to get these cute little circles. And y'all grilled me about how my snowmen did not have mouths last time, so here we go for all of you that thought that they needed little happy faces. There we go. And then again, we do our triangular nose for the snowman. Snowmen are so easy to make. These would be great DIYs to do with the family. All right. Now, you guys, I cut these letters out and I was like, I don't need transfer tape. Like, it's only letters. I could just, peel them up and stick them on. No, you guys, just use your transfer tape, okay? Because I had to keep peeling this off, putting it on because it kept going crooked. So as you'll see with the next one. And then you guys, you could do these sizes all in your own preference. Again, I will give you the sizes that I chose to use, but they really can be any size that you want. And this is how this one turned out. I love, love, love the black and white with that color beanie. But like I said, I think that this would look really good in a blue color too, with a coordinating beanie color. So this one was a lot of fun and it was so very easy to do. Now we are going to take some sheet music that I got from Google, and I will leave that link in the description box. I crumbled it up. Then I took a hot tea bag and I'm going to rub that all over my sheet music in a cookie pan. I preferred this method over coffee because I felt like it used a lot less liquid and I liked how the color came out as well. So after I'm done doing that, I'm going to take a paper towel. I'm going to dab off, cheers, might as well drink that tea. I'm going to dab that excess liquid off. Then I'm going to set my stove to 195 and put it in for 6 minutes. But you do you. Practice caution when doing this. Everybody's stove is different. You could also use a heat gun or let it air dry. The choice is yours, but this does speed up the process. Now that we're done with that, here is the measurement for this sign. This was a random scrap piece of wood, so this measurement's all over the place. Now we're going to paint the entire thing with ink by Waverly, the front, the back, the sides. If you guys hear the baby crying, I apologize, but we have a whole family that's not feeling well this week, so it is what it is. I'm now taking antique wax by Waverly as well, and I didn't like how bright the raw wood looked under the black, and like it wasn't nah. So I took the wax and put that there so it darkened everything up. Now I'm tearing the edges off of this sheet music. You could also do this step while it's wet, but I found it was just as easy dry. Now I'm going to take some Mod Podge and you're going to do a pretty healthy coat on the back. You want to make sure none of those edges come up on you. And then I'm going to smooth it out, but I'm loving all of the wrinkles. So I'm not trying to entirely smooth it out. I want to keep the old look here. Now I got Mod Podge happy, you guys. I put way too much Mod Podge on here. And this is why I prefer, if I can, use polyacrylic. Because if you put too much Mod Podge on, it dries white. And that's exactly what happened. You'll notice in the top right and the left, it looks white. So I grabbed a sanding block and I sanded those edges, and then I sanded over the sheet music, and it gave it an even better distressed look. So everything happens for a reason, right? Now I'm going to take this decal. I've actually had this in my cabinet forever, and I was like, well, I'm not going to throw it away. I'm going to make this work. So taking that Frisco transfer tape once again, I am moving this over, and I see how I was trying to move it. It was already stuck. So that's what it's good transfer tape, but I don't like that there's no leeway with it. And with my Transfer Ease one that I always use, that cloudy looking one, you can pick up the image and reposition it a couple times. So I'll stick with that one, but this one is good and it's kind of inexpensive. Now I'm taking that Holy Night, putting that on there, and then we are done, you guys. And this turned out so beautiful. It's an easy way to bring some holiday spirit into your home. And you can do this with all different things. If your family has sheet music that they've used in the past, or music that somebody's written for you, I think it's a great way to put it on display. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you for spending your time with me. You guys ready for this one? So this is also inspired by Connie. And you guys, I painted this whole piece of wood elephant gray and then was like, you wanted that red. So I'm going back over with crimson red, the front, the back, the sides, all of that jazz. Now, here is what she does. This whole baking soda and paint, that's not new to you guys. Get it, got it. But I'm going to pour a bunch in here. I want this to be thick. And what Connie does, she not only does this with the baking soda and paint, but she does it, you know, the chunky stuff that forms in the lid of your paints. She, like I said, does not waste anything. And she uses it for this same thing. So I'm taking this stencil brush from Dollar Tree. And I am pouncing that onto my corners, and then I'm thinning it out as I come up the edges. What I do next is I'm going to get my heat gun, and with the heat gun, I'm going to, I'll eventually get there, you guys. Okay, maybe not till later. Let's see. No, right here. Now, as it's drying, you know, it's getting a little bit more tacky. So I keep stippling over that baking soda mixture because it creates even more texture on there. I was then thinking, you know what, let's frame this out. Let's put it around the entire thing. So again, I grab a good amount of that baking soda mixture, and you can see I'm just stippling this on heavy around the corners, and then I start thinning out as we work our way inside the frame. Then I get my heat gun and do the same thing. Once this completely dries, I'm going to take another one of my transfers. I've been dying to use this bear transfer. Y'all, I'm saying it a lot in this video, but the details, like this bear's eyes look like it's looking into your soul and saying like, take me home and let's cuddle together in front of the fireplace. They're just so beautiful and intricate. They're beautiful. Okay, and then I burnish it. And that's just rubbing the image so that I make sure that it's stuck to that wood. Now, this is where the magic is going to happen. I take my white wax with a chip brush, and as I go around that textured baking soda, do you see how this is just coming to life? It is like you're looking through a frosted glass window. I am stoked about this, and this is something that I will definitely, this technique, use in the future. I think it's a great way to add texture to a piece, frame out a piece, and you could use, you know, the dark wax, white wax, gray wax. It does not matter. You could dry brush on top of this. It is stunning, and I can't wait to try her trick with the, you know, the crusty paint in the lid. But look at how cute. My camera makes it look a lot brighter, but this is probably one of my favorite pieces. And do you see all of that? See that texture? And then that bear. Oh, it's so beautiful. Oh my gosh. Let me know which one you are going to try first.
Hey guys, we got a laywood round. So, a couple questions we'll get out of the way. This is an 18-inch wood round. I usually get all my wood rounds from Home Depot when they are in stock. I am going to be staining with this gel stain by Rust-Oleum. I actually got this at the Dollar Tree. Usually I use oil-based stains, and I will use a microfiber cloth to apply the stain. I think that got all of it out of the way. All right, so with this gel stain, well, any stain, you're going to stain it with the grain of the wood. I am going to stain the front, the back, and the sides. I will say this gel stain wasn't as movable as the oil stain. I guess it's supposed to dry faster than oil stain, but I kept this overnight. I think that's just because I'm used to doing that, so I don't really know if it dried faster or not. So I wanted to point out, after I was done staining, I applied this clear shellac to my wood round. This is going to keep the knots of the woods and any of the stain from peeking through our bright white paint. You could also use this stuff on things like
vintage furniture so that like you don't have the tannins coming through or the oils coming through. So it's a great product to keep in your stash. So now I'm going to apply my painter's tape. As you can see, there are lines already there for you where the glued pieces of wood are. This is Scotch 233 plus automotive tape. It is expensive, but this is what works for me. It's just very adhesive, so I never have any bleeds with it. I do have all of the products I use for my wood rounds in my Amazon store link down in the description box. So now I'm going to go ahead and wrap that around my wood round. And then I'm taking Linen White by Rust-Oleum, my mini sponge roller. These come in a 2-pack at Menards. And I am going to do 2 coats of the white paint on top and on the sides leading up to our painter's tape, of course. You should never have to put a bunch of pressure on your roller. Just coat your roller appropriately and you should be fine. Then comes the most satisfying part, taking that paint off. Save that paint. You can painter's tape. You can reuse it. And look at that crisp line. All right. So now I'm going to take my stencil that I made with my Cricut. This is Aura Mask 813 stencil vinyl. I have a lot of you saying that you get bubbles in your stencil vinyl. I highly recommend, if this is something that you are going to continue to do, to invest your money in the big roll. I think it's like $63. You want the stencil vinyl to come on its original cardboard roll, because what happens is when you get these smaller rolls, the person that is like rolling up the vinyl rolls it too tight, and that's where the bubbles come from, and it is very hard to get those bubbles out. So I highly suggest investing in the bigger roll. So now that we have that applied, I am taking Crimson Red by Waverly. I cleaned my sponge roller, I rolled it in a towel to get that excess water out, and I am just using it again. So again, do not apply any pressure to this roller. You should just be using a light hand. The more pressure you put down on it, the more chances you are of pushing that paint underneath your stencil. So I do 2 coats, you guys. And as you can see, my Aura Mask starts bubbling up. And I'm like, why is this happening? That's so weird. It's never, see how I'm like trying to push it down around the letters? I'm like, this has never happened before. And I could not figure it out for the life of me. But then I get onto the second coat and start drying that. And then I fill the heat gun, because I have a cool setting and a hot setting on my heat gun. But the cool setting, you can also change it to become like more like warm. And what I was doing was drying this with the with heat. And so it was causing my vinyl to bubble up. Then it caused this amazing, which what happened to that? I don't know, you guys. Okay, well, sorry. I took the stencil vinyl off. I'm going to apply it with this. I'm going to apply clear matte spray paint over the top. You just need a very light mist, and then you are going to let it dry. It takes less than a minute, and this is going to help not spread that red paint onto your white. So I am now taking Helmsman water-based. I'm going to put the can right here. You can see under Minwax, it says water-based. This is what you want to not, in order to not yellow your white paint. If it does not say water-based, then more than likely it's going to yellow your paint. So I am using a chip brush here. I'm going to apply 2 coats to the front, to the back, and then obviously we're going to touch up on the sides as well. Make sure you hit your sides up, because if not, then you're going to have drips going down the side and they will dry a nice cloudy white color, which we do not want. So I am going to finish applying the first coat, and then I'm just going to fast forward the other ones, you guys. I think you get it, right? And this is just a chip brush, just an old cheap chip brush that I'm applying it with here. All right, now I'm taking my D hooks. These are in my Amazon store link as well. And I put them about 3 inches in on each side, and then I guesstimate how far down. So I screw those in. I'm going to take my wired jute cord. This is actually from Dollar Tree, and I prefer this over ribbon. It holds up very well. I have one on my door right now, and I've never had issues with the wired jute cord. So we're going to do the other side as well. You just twist that on up. I put a little hot glue just so like the actual like jute doesn't unravel on me. And then after that, we are then, you guys, I don't know how I made this bow, but I made it and it looks so good. I think I did like a circle, okay? Then I scrunched it together. Then I brought the bow towards me and then away from me. I don't know. You guys just watch because I don't know what I did. And then I twisted it around the middle. And then I am going to lay my greenery in there. So usually, if you've seen my videos before, I usually zip tie my bow and my greenery together. This time, I just had to wrap it, and then I'm going to hot glue the strand in the middle to the back. And this was not budging. Like my greenery is not going anywhere. You guys, I don't know how I created this, but it was so easy and it looks so good. Now I'm taking my industrial strength Velcro and we are going to apply this to the back of our bow and our greenery. I have been using this for quite some time now. I have one on my front door right now. I have the like storm door that slams against it all the time and it is still holding strong. I prefer to use this. That way you could change your bow out, next year if, red trucks isn't your thing, you could easily change your bow out by taking off the, the Velcro. And if it ever did come off, all you had to do was apply more Velcro. But I have not had that issue personally. And that greenery, did I already say I got it from Walmart? I got it from Walmart, y'all. So we're just going to go ahead and take that off and look at how pretty. I wanted this to be a little bit more simple so people that were beginners could easily achieve this look. I love the bright white with the red and then that bow. That ribbon is actually from Dollar General. So I hope you guys really enjoyed this wood round.
I know we've all seen these, but I have not done spindle ornaments before. So I cut a bunch of these spindles down. I am taking, oh my gosh, I forgot what color this is, you guys, by DIY. I'll link it down below, but it is a DIY paint. And like DIY paints, as they dry, they get lighter in color. So you can see how beautiful that dries down. Isn't that gorgeous? And then I'm going to take the wax, this gold. You guys, I went nuts with this. I'm just taking my finger and I'm going to rub it around the raised. Oh my gosh, sorry, I'm like looking at this and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so pretty. And then I'm putting it on places that I thought that maybe the spindle would naturally distress. And you guys, I did not plan on using this on multiple spindles, but I ended up doing that because this gold is so like, I don't know how to describe it, like antique-y gold. Like it's not like a bright, ugly yellow gold or like brassy gold. It's so beautiful. And then like because it's a wax, it almost gives like this dark hue around it. Look at this. Oh my gosh. Is that gold not stunning or what? Oh my gosh. Then I take the clear wax by DIY and I am just going to do a rough brushing over that. Now the DIY wax will make your piece a little darker. It does dry down some in a meaning of like it gets a little bit lighter again, but it will not look exactly like it did before the wax. Hope that makes sense. All right, now this one I distressed prior and it definitely was not cute. So we are going to cover this with the same green paint and then we're going to do a different technique. So we're going to grab our candle and we're going to rub our candle over this paint. Now remember, the more wax you get, the more distressed look you're going to get. the less distress you're going to get. So make sure you rub that all over the place. Then we're going to take Crimson by Waverly, and I am going to put that on. Now, if you had multiple layers, you could do like white, then you would wax it. Then you would do green, wax it, green, wax it, and then put your red on. And then when you do this part, which this is just like shipping tape, and you pull it back, if you did more colors, you would see multiple colors in that. But since I only put the wax on top of the green, that is why we are seeing the green. So I thought this was super pretty. And then I ended up getting mica powder. And I got these are from Arteza, and I got this strawberry red. So what I'm doing here is I'm clearing the spindle with the clear DIY wax first. Then I'm going to dip my finger into this strawberry red mica powder. I was on now like a shiny look. I don't know, frosted look, we'll say. And so I started, again, just rubbing those on all of the details. And then I kind of went over the parts where the green was showing and put that little shimmer of red on there as well. Now, you guys, I'm just taking you through the different paintings that we did on these spindles. So hang tight. All right, so this one we're going to do crimson. And I ended up having to do 2 coats of this because of the black paint. After this, I am going to get that gold wax once again. And you guys, this gold wax did not disappoint on any color. Like on the red, it popped. It looks so Christmassy and gorgeous. I've also used it, you'll see later, on gray. I'm obsessed. And again, the DIY products I get from upcycledbybrie.com, and I always have her link in the description box. I also clear that one as well, you guys. I just didn't show it, didn't want to be super repetitive. And then on this beautiful spindle, I left it natural. We're not painting it. I just rubbed the gold wax on it to give it a Christmassy look. Gorga, okay? And I cleared that one. Then you guys, I kind of ruined it. I should have done all of these like green, red colors and gold, but for some reason I saw icicle with this one. I don't know why. So I painted it Nantucket blue. Then I took my white wax and I am taking my stencil brush. Now, when I do waxes, you guys, I like to keep the same brush. I use the same brush all the time, and I just keep it in a sandwich bag to keep it nice and soft, and I just reuse the same brush over and over. Now I'm taking a blue mica powder and I'm rubbing that. Oh gosh, I got such a great angle on in this frame here. And then I'm going to take these eye hooks and I'm going to drill a hole at the top of my spindles. Now, if you don't have a drill, the eye hooks you can just push and screw in. However, it gets a little tough, so you do have to grab some pliers and then you'll keep twisting. These eye hooks do come in gold too, which that is what I really wanted, but I could not find at Walmart. This entire pack of the eye hooks cost me 97 cents at Walmart. Then I'm going to take the twine. You guys can also use ribbon. I mean, there's so many options you could use for hanging these, but I just did like a very basic twine. And you guys, check out how this came out. Oh my gosh. Look at that gold. Gold. I love, love, love these. Let me know if you've made these before, or if now you're like super inspired and you're going to go scour your garage and Facebook Marketplace for spindles. These are going to be available. These 4 available for purchase on my website. So go check that out. Oh my gosh. Look at that. That original spindle is to die for. Like, I just can't. And then I thought I would show you the blue and white one, even though, you know, they're not as good as the red and green ones, but here's the blue one. Doesn't this remind you of an icicle? It's just longer. I don't know. And then here's another one I did. Come on, camera, focus. And you can't see it. I have like a frosty white shimmer on there, but it definitely wasn't my favorite.
All right, y'all, for this one, my friend gave me these like wood signs when she was moving. So I am taking two of the pieces. I'm going to take the backing off of these. Literally everything I either got free or I got on Facebook Marketplace. Even the wood round my girlfriend Tina gave me. All right, so we're going to go ahead and paint the front and the back and the sides all linen white by Rust-Oleum. I think I only had to do one coat on these. And then as you can see, we have the four pieces. The two smaller ones are going to connect our two wood pieces together. So I'm going to fast forward this. Now, you guys, do as I say, not as I do, because I did not apply any wood glue to this. So normally you would apply wood glue to the two middle pieces and then to your small wood pieces that are going to hold your sign together. I did not do that. Then taking my nail gun, y'all, I am measuring because I don't want it to pop through. But then the longer ones, I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to give it a try. Your girl knew what was going to happen. And it happened. It busted through the front of the sign. So then I put in these smaller staples, and those were too small. It went through the first piece of wood, but it would not go through the second. So then I had to get old school, and I just took nails and hammered them on in. I had to. It was the only way to make it work because I didn't have any nails for my nail gun that were like in between the two sizes. So you guys, so this is where I'm trying the little nails. And then I'm like, nope, that's not going to work. So then I just end up nailing it. All right, so now I'm repurposing the D-hooks that were originally on there. D-hooks are great to use if you think that you're going to be putting weight onto something. So since this is going to have hooks on it, I wanted to make sure I had D-hooks so that it could withstand the weight that might be hanging from it. So now that that's done, we're going to flip it on over. I am going to take these hooks. This is from Dollar General. I got it on clearance, you guys, for I think like $1.50. And John was the one that had the idea because these hooks were like put on super crooked. He was like, we should take off the hooks, put them on some barn wood, and then we could resell it at the booth for way more than $1.50. So that is what I'm doing. I'm taking off these Farmhouse hooks from this Dollar General sign. You know I'm going to keep that piece of little MDF because we could use that for something. And then I am going to attach it to our wood sign. So I'm using my painter's tape to have a nice straight guideline as to where to put my hooks. Then I'm going to grab a pencil and I'm going to start marking where the holes are in these hooks. And that is going to give me a nice guideline because we are going to pre-drill some holes. That way it's easier for me to screw the screws that came with the hooks back in. So as you can see, doing that, yep, easy, easy, easy. And then I am just going to screw those back in. So again, the wood was free and then the hooks were like $1.50. What's up? Okay, so now I'm going to take my stencil again with Aura Mask 813 stencil vinyl. I got this image off of the Cricut Access. And I am just going to apply that down. Well, I'm trying to get this as straight as possible. It is so hard when you pick a design with straight lines like the border. Because if it's crooked, you're going to tell. All right, so we're going to apply that. We're going to peel the transfer tape back, which is Vinyl Ease transfer tape. And then, sorry that the color changes when blue gets all up in the mix. So now I'm taking Rich Black by Folk Art. I'm using my stencil brush from Dollar Tree. And I'm just kind of stippling this on. I didn't want it to be like a clean black. I wanted it to look a little worn. So that's why I'm stippling it on instead of like sponge rolling it on. I'm not trying to cover every nook and cranny on this. So now I'm going to go ahead and take that off. No bleeds whatsoever. That's what's up. And I don't use Mod Podge. Don't. I just have a very soft hand and I don't apply any pressure
when I am painting a stencil. So I am going to finish weeding this. I think I kept a lot of this in here for some reason. You're welcome. But I like this because it can go for winter too. Like it doesn't just have to be a Christmas, you know, what would this be? A shelf hanger, a hanger, you know what but look at how cute this is. Like the farmhouse hooks are everything. I love that it's winter related. You could see the basket that I made in my previous video hanging from there, a cute little scarf, and this will be definitely going in my booth.
Now we're gonna grab that pillowcase once again, okay? You guys, save everything. You never know when you're gonna use it. I'm gonna grab this. This has been hanging around my basement for a long time. I think it was $4.99 at Savers. Savers is the jam now, you guys. Like compared to Salvation Army and Goodwill, like Savers definitely has the better prices if you have one in your state. So I'm gonna pull this all out. We are not touching that frame. That frame is gorga, okay? Now I'm going to take that glass piece. I like how I used my rotary blade. It was so dull. I was trying to be fancy for you guys. That's what I was trying to do. I was like, look at me. I like have sewing tools. I didn't even know what to call it. Okay, so sorry, you guys. I ended up just using my fabric scissors and cutting it out. You want to make sure that you're using some kind of, you want overlap on this because you can also do this with a picture frame as well if you do not necessarily have one of these. So I'm going to use some tape and tape it down. Then I'm going to grab another transfer. I was on like a black and white kick right here, you guys. But it's definitely my style, this like neutral color background with the black, totally my style. Now I'm just trying to find the position of where it would show in the frame. Now, these transfers have tack on them. So it is sticking to my fabric. Then I use this little plastic thing. It was working, but I switched it up to this metal like spatula. And let me tell you, man, once I switched it to that, this transfer was adhering to the fabric so well. And you guys, you don't need to put anything on the fabric. Like I didn't clear this. There's no paint on it, nothing. This transfer is just going directly on to this fabric, which is amazing. So you can use this on any type, I don't want to say any type of fabric because I don't know that, but a lot of different fabrics. Now, once I got that off, I did burnish it. I don't think I showed that. I did burnish it. Then I'm laying it on top of my glass piece. Now, I didn't get this super straight, but you know, I got it kind of straight. And when you're doing something like this, you want to get that fabric as tight as you can. So I'm starting with the top. I am going over, I'm just using hot glue, and then I'm going to pull that fabric down as hard as I can and then apply another thing of hot glue, and I'm using my silicone spatula. I have like a 5-pack or something of these in my Amazon store, and I'm pulling that towards the center so that it's nice and tight. I'm going to do the same thing for the other side as well. And then I'm going to pop this back in. I don't know about you guys. You guys might have one of these in your home. My grandma always had one on her dresser with all of her perfumes in it. It's so nostalgic for me. And I'm definitely keeping this because of that. It just brings back memories of my childhood. And so I just put the inserts back in and then we're done. I did not want to touch the frame at all. I thought it made it look regal. You could see it. It's a little crooked, but it's all right. It's mine. It adds pizzazz to it is what I'm going to say. But I think that it just looks really regal with the deer head and then those colors and it's that patina on there. Oh, it's absolutely gorgeous. I love it. All right. Okay, this next one, you guys, I found these. These are actually lids to ammo boxes. And I think I got 6 of them for $25 on Facebook Marketplace. I sanded them with a very low grit sandpaper. I want to say like 80, maybe 60 to get all of the stuff off of it. And then I sprayed it with shellac as well. And then I'm going to go in with our rich black chalk paint. Now, this chalk paint is super thick. Even when I put a little water in it and mix it up,
it is thick. So I wanted to show you what I'm doing. I am getting my spray bottle. I am spritzing the water on the wood and then applying my chalk paint. This helps the chalk paint move and it helps it go further. So I learned this by watching Amber Strong paint furniture, and seriously, it is like one of my best takeaways because I would have probably used so much paint if I did not have that water to really spread this chalk paint out and kind of like thin it out for me. So I am going to paint the front, the back, the sides. I am planning on selling this in my booth. So for me, I rather take the time and have a very finished product for somebody. But to each their own. Some people don't like wasting their product on the back of like signs and stuff. So that's understandable. But for me, I know if I buy something, I would want it to look finished. So after this dries, I am then marking out some holes on the back here. And I am going to then, any day now, sometimes I think I do a really great job editing. And sometimes I'm like, how did you miss this boring part? Sorry, you guys. So we're going to take our drill gun and I am going to drill some holes up in this wood. If I don't drill my table first. And then I'm going to drill another hole on the opposite side. I'm going to take some nautical rope from Dollar Tree, feed that on in there, knot it up. I'm going to pull it as hard as I can just to make sure that knot is good and it's there and it's not unwinding. I'll put it through the opposite side, and I think this was like the way to go because it just ties in very well. So next I'm taking, you guessed it, Ornament stencil vinyl, linen white by Rust-Oleum, and I made this with my Cricut. So now I am taking my stencil brush once again and I am stenciling on my paint. Now I always get asked, why not just use vinyl? For me, you guys, I rather take that little extra time to paint because one, it's gonna last way longer, and two, I can charge a lot more for something that is painted versus something that has vinyl on it. And again, for me, it's being able to guarantee the person that's buying this is going to be able to enjoy it forever versus vinyl. I can't guarantee that because usually vinyl lasts up to like 5 years, and this is an indoor sign. So I'm going to take that off. Again, no bleeds. My favorite part. Okay, so after I'm done weeding that, as you can see, I'm brushing off that chalk paint. And then I'm going to take my IOD stamps. You guys have seen me use these multiple times. I love the snowflake ones. I don't know why. So I'm just applying some white chalk paint to them. And then I'm going to put these sporadically on here. At first I was going to leave this completely plain and just do the Merry Mel. And then I was like, oh, it needs something else. It needs something a little bit more Christmassy. So use your imagination, or if you like the simplicity, then don't put anything. You do you, okay? So after I'm done with this, we are going to take some twine. I double knot it. Then we are going to use our staple gun. I'm going to make sure that's hammered down so it's nice and tight. Now, when you're doing a sign like this, you need to make sure you are pulling that twine as tightly as you can. If you have any give whatsoever in this twine, what is going to happen is when you apply like the little clips to hang pictures or cards, it is going to sag. And the more you use it, the more sagging you're going to have, and it's just not going to be pretty. So pull as tightly as you can here and wrap it around. You'll see right here, I'm going to stop. I'm going to double knot it again, and then I am going to staple this to the board. It took me 3 tries to do it, but I did it. And this is just giving me like another point of like just making sure it's attached very well. And then I'll go ahead and bring that all the way down. Then I'm going to take more of these fairy lights. You guys, I need to put these in my Amazon store for you. I just wrapped it around the back. I'm going to wrap it around 3 times right here. And I feel like this just like, oh my gosh, completed this and took it up a notch for sure. I'm going to Velcro this little pack to the back. That way, if you ever had to change it, it easily comes off. And that's it, you guys. We are absolutely done with this sign. And it came out, look at, absolutely gorgeous. And this is a big sign. Like this ammo box lid, it's pretty darn big. Oh, and make sure you clear it as well. I did clear Rust-Oleum spray paint for this because it's going inside. And I love the addition. And Mama Mickey gave me that card last year. But I love the addition of the light.
We're going to start out with this silver tray that I got at Salvation Army, and I'm going to give it a good coat of this matte clear by Rust-Oleum. I feel like when you have a slick surface like this, it just helps having something for the paint to attach to. Sorry about my awesome filming while doing over here. My Salvation Army has an entire section full of just all this silver stuff, and they're usually a tan tag, so when that goes 50% off, I usually get like the most like ornate things I could find. So now that it's nice and matte, I am going to grab White Swan by DIY Paint, and I am going to use a synthetic brush for this. And the reason I'm going to do that versus using like a chippy brush like I usually do is because I want to, I don't want the paint brush strokes, and this is going to give me a little bit smoother of a finish on this. All of my DIY paints, you guys know the drill, will be down in the description box. I get them from upcycledbybrie.com. And after I'm done with this, I'm not going to paint the back because we are going to distress this down. You're going to see the silver peeking through, so I didn't feel a need to paint the back. I'm going to do 2 coats of this. I'm going to completely let it dry. Then I am going to grab my polyacrylic, or sorry, I'm going to sand it first. I'm taking just a rough sanding sponge from Dollar Tree, and I'm going to just de-stress it down so that you can see some of that silver and some of that detail. Look at how pretty that is. I'm going to go all, excuse me, you guys. I'm going to go all around the edges, and then I tried to get inside to hit some of those little humps you see on there. I tried my best, but it didn't come out as distressed as I would have liked it. So now that that's done, I clean it off. I'm going to take my water-based polyacrylic. You want to make sure you're using water-based so it doesn't yellow your paint. And then I go and use a chip brush anyways. Oh my gosh. Okay, so I'm going to be using an Iron Orchid Designs transfer. On their transfer sheet, they say to clear your piece first. Now, I know that you don't have to clear it, but I rather be safe than sorry. So I'm going to take my transfers, and I already knew when I saw this transfer book that this transfer had to go on this silver tray. Now I get my transfers, all my IOD stuff from Vonda at thepaintedheirloom.com. I always leave her link down in the description box. And if you're a new customer, then use unicorn10 for a discount. So I am cutting this down. I couldn't fit the last part on, but I'll save that, and you never know, I could use it later. Now, learn from me, you guys. I think because I had put the clear on and I literally just dried it with my heat gun and then went straight for the transfer, it started bringing up my paint. So I would say let your clear coat cure for a little bit and then go in with your transfer. So you can see I am just using one of my vinyl spatula, I don't know what these are called, things. You could also, they come with like a little plastic thing to rub them down. I always prefer lifting my transfer up as I am pulling back on it. I feel like it helps release the transfer a little more. Now, I know not everybody is going to be able to afford to get this. You could always just take the bones of this
And you can use, you know, decoupage. You can print on your printer and do the Mod Podge hack of transferring your image. So just use the bones of this. If IOD is something that's not in your budget right now, that's totally fine. I'm here to inspire and give you guys ideas, and then you can go and make them your own. So now that I am done and this has completely released, I'm going to take a piece of that carrier paper and I am going to burnish this on. So what I'm doing right here is I'm just kind of pressing that in to my paint. I'm making sure it's all down and it's not going to pill up or go anywhere. And then I clear it with some matte, and you guys, look at how gorgeous. Seriously, when I saw this in the release, I thought of this silver tray right away, and it looks gorgeous on here. It is so fitting. Let me know if you think this was a good image for this tray. For this DIY, you're going to need 6 blocks total. I'll leave the measurements in the description box, and 3 spindles of your choice. Or you could just use like plunger sticks if you want. Now, I didn't know where I was going with this, so I took Truffle by Waverly and a baby wipe, and I'm going to go ahead and stain all 6 of these blocks. I'm going to leave the spindles as they are. Then I'm going to take these Dollar Tree tiles, and you guys, I have been seeing these in all my stores, so hopefully you're able to find them. Now what we're going to do with these are fold them in half. I'm going to create half a triangle, the biggest I could go on the first one. Then I'm going to cut that out. Now make sure you cut inside of that permanent marker line so you don't have permanent marker all over your tree. Take the backing off because it comes off anyways. And then we are going to go and make a second one. Now with the second one, you're going to fold it in half again. I'm going to use our first, the biggest tree as a guide. I'm going to put a notch just a little less than what we had cut the first time. Okay, and I'm just going to draw that up. And then again, we're going to cut that out, and I'm going to do this a third time as well. Now, these tiles are a little flimsy. So what I did was I got my poster board. I'm going to put some hot glue on the back of the tile. Now, the tile doesn't melt, but you can definitely still feel the heat through the tile. So it does get hot, so just be careful. And then I'm going to cut this out. Now our tree is a little bit more sturdier. We're not going to have to worry about it, you know, like being all floppy doppy. And is that, I don't even know where that came from. All right, and we're going to do the same thing for all 3. Now we're going to add the magical touch, the paint. So this is Antique Green by Folk Art, and it is chalk paint. It's absolutely beautiful for Christmas. I'm going to stipple that on here. We're only going to do 1 coat for this one. Then we are going to, oh, you guys, these cutting mats from Dollar Tree are amazing to paint on. Chalk paint wipes off of them so easily, and then that way you have a nice clean space. All right, then for the other 2, I'm going to take Plaster by Waverly. You can see I'm just doing a messy coat on this first coat, and then the second coat I'm going to go back and I'm going to do that stippling effect so you don't see brush strokes on the Christmas tree. Now I'm going to take my DIY white wax. I get this from upcycledbybrie.com, and I'm obsessed with it, and you can see why. It takes something that's like super flat and then brings the detail out of it. And I mean, who doesn't love seeing all that detail? And then with this one, with the white, I'm going to take a gray wax and brush that over. Now, I didn't sand over this just because I felt like it was going to look more scratchy than like distressed. So I chose to go with the wax. So after that's done, we're going to grab our spindles. I'm going to start off with some hot glue, and then for the other 2, I do nail them, but this spindle was so thin that I could not put nails through it, so I just secured it very well with hot glue. You'll see right here for this spindle, I'm going to put the hot glue on. Then I'm going to take my nail gun and I'm going to shoot that through the front twice. That way these Christmas trees are not going anywhere. And then I'll do the same thing for the third. Now we're going to take some wood glue and some hot glue. We're going to stick it on the smallest little cube square. And then I'm going to shoot some nails through that as well so that our spindles don't go falling off on us. Next, I take some more wood glue and some hot glue, attach that to the bottom of our smaller little square. and I'm going to attach that to the bigger square just to give it more height, more interest, more depth. And this is just my thing. I added Spanish moss to it. You could add snow to it, or you could just leave it as is. But you guys, in the title, when I say these are high-end Dollar Tree Christmas, these look high-end. Like, these do not look like those came from Dollar Tree whatsoever. And if you don't think that, then we can't be friends. Okay? Just kidding. Not really. Okay. So here's our first piece of wood. I'm going to try my hardest to start putting the measurements on the screen. So take a screenshot, write it down, because I suck at putting in the description box. All right, so we are taking Truffle by Waverly, and I am going to paint the front and all of the sides. We will paint the back later once we do our second coat. I am then going to grab a candle. This is just a candle from Dollar Tree. Use any candle you want. And I'm going to start rubbing it on the surface of our wood piece. I like this way of distressing because I feel like it really allows you to have control over where you're distressing and how much you're distressing. So I am not putting a lot of wax. The more wax, the more distress you're going to get. After that, I'm going to paint this in Plaster by Waverly, and you could see now we're going to paint the back of it, then we paint the front of it. I'm going to grab some shipping tape. You could also use duct tape, but that might pull off more than you want. And you're going to lay the shipping tape on top, rub it down, and then you're going to pull it up. Now, anywhere that wax was, your white paint should come up with it because it created a barrier between the two layers. And this gave me just the most perfect amount of distressing that I was looking for. Now I'm going to take these angel wings that I cut for my Cricut. I just used scrapbook paper. I will leave the Google link that I found like these exact wings in the description box. I'm just taking a light coat of Mod Podge and applying it to the back. This scrapbook paper did come from Hobby Lobby. It is a Christmas one. And then after that, we are going to flip this second one around. I'm going to smooth that out. And you guys, I thought, how perfect would this be if you had like a letter from your grandma or your mom? Make a copy of it and then cut out the angel wings and use it in this way. And what a beautiful gift it would make, or just something for you to have special that could come out during the holidays or shoot all year long. So I'm putting a thin amount of Mod Podge over the top as well. You could also use polyacrylic for this. And after that dries, I'm going to grab my gold Arteza puff pin. You could even use a different color and just paint it gold, or whatever color combo you would like to do. And you're just going to draw that in, and you can seal it with clear matte by Rust-Oleum. And you guys, this came out so gorgeous, and it was so simple to make. And especially if you're someone that does like craft fairs or have a booth, you can make so many of these in not a lot of amount of time. I love it. Let me know what you think and if you're going to be making one of these this holiday season. I found these at Savers, and I was like, well, first off, I mean, they're perfect. They're wood. There's nothing you can't do with wood, y'all. So I'm going to take these off. I took them outside and I completely sanded the top off. I didn't, you guys, I just had to show you this. So, you know, when you see something on Pinterest, it said take acrylic latex caulking and you can use it to make, you know, molds, all that stuff. And then, I mean, that's all I really saw on Pinterest. I didn't actually read the Pinterest post. So I had my husband pick this up for me. I start doing it. One, it is a complete mess. Then I start reading the caulking tube, or what is this? Yeah, it's caulking. And it says it takes like 5 to 7 days to dry. I just thought I would show you guys my little oopsie there, okay? All right, so now I'm taking, this is the new IOD Christmas molds. I am taking cornstarch and I am going to put that in my molds. This is going to help release the clay or whatever you're using from your mold. So I am trying a different clay this time. I am trying paper clay, and I have to say, I liked it a lot. It was it was super soft and it was easy to work with. I will say though, when you see me do these next ones, the snowflakes, it was so soft that at times when I was pulling the clay, like across the image, it was kind of pulling it back up on me. So, and then you guys, if you guys actually read, because I hardly do, I just say, oh, I can do that. On the IOD like molds on the back, it shows them using like a spatula over it to like press them down. And that's where I got this idea to use my little white thing here. Yeah, I was like, oh wow, this makes it so much easier. So you could see how it keeps kind of like lifting. It's just so soft. And I think that air dry clay kind of is heavier. I don't know. I'm not like a mold or clay expertise person, okay? But I got it to go down. I leave this to dry overnight in the mold. I read your guys' comments, and I was having a lot of issues with my air dry clay cracking, and y'all said leave it in the mold to dry. So that's what I did with the paper clay. And I have to say, this is going to sound so silly, but it really did look like I got paper and like wadded it up and wet it and let it dry. That sounds so silly because it's paper clay. So obviously, but anywho, so the little excess, like little bits that were hanging off, I just got my weeding tool and kind of like, what am I doing? Like pressing, kind of sanding it off with that. The details on these snowflakes are so fine that I could not get sanding paper in there. So this is how I chose to do it. Now I'm taking my Star Bond glue and I'm going to use this to adhere my molds. And the reason I'm doing this one instead of like the Tight Bond wood glue that I usually use or hot glue is because the glue is so thin on this one that I'm able to hit all of those little details and it doesn't like come out from under it. So you could see how I'm able to get all those little tiny pieces, and then when I lay it down onto my wood piece, I don't have a bunch of it coming like out from under the mold. And then I also have the accelerator, and this I was able to like push down on the mold, spray this, and then it like instantaneously dries when it hits that. So as you can see, I only sanded the top of these. I wanted that beautiful old like stained wood still on there. I'm going to take some painter's tape off those edges, and then I'm going to grab, I think this color is Sailor by DIY Paints, and I am going to take a stencil brush from Dollar Tree and we are going to apply this to the top. Now I didn't, of course, like I usually do, want the brush strokes. So I start stippling this on. And if you guys have watched my channel before, then I'm sorry if it sounds like I repeat myself, but there might be new viewers on here. So I like to use this stencil brush because all of those little bristles, those wire hairs, they get into all of the little nooks and crannies, all of those beautiful details so that none of that white is showing. And then you can see with the DIY paints, they're clay based, so they look dark when they're wet, but you can see as it's drying down, it shows up this beautiful soft blue, which I love. Now I'm going to grab my DIY white wax. Y'all know I'm obsessed with the wax, and I'm just going to dust it over the snowflakes. I do not want to touch the paint in the background. I really want these snowflakes to pop out at you. So that is why I chose to just do these snowflakes versus the entire piece. And you can just see all of that beautiful detail that comes out. It seriously shocks me how they're able to get all of these details into a mold. Crazy. Now I'm going to take the deer one, and I am going to take Cashew by Waverly, and I am going to do the same thing. Stencil brush, I'm going to start stippling around there to get all of those details in there. And then we are going to take the DIY dark wax. Look at this. It's delicious. And we are going to dust that over. Look at, oh my gosh, I love it. I just love how this stuff brings out all of the features of these molds. Anything that has texture on it, you guys know I'm all about. So then I just wipe the excess off with a paper towel, and that is good to go. And look at the framed out. Oh my gosh, I love it. Okay, now we're gonna put the tops back in there. And you guys, I know not everybody's gonna like just have these lying around. You can use real wood pieces like 1x4s cut up, or you could even use, Dollar Tree has some wood pieces kind of similar to this, and those hooks, they sell those at the hardware store. So there's another option if you don't have these. Now I'm cutting up my pillowcase that you guys see me use quite often. I'm going to take my IOD stamps, and I actually got this idea from Sonnet's Garden and Bloom. I forgot what she made, but she made tags like this, and I was like, okay, this is going to be the perfect little subtle addition to our, I'm gonna call them ornaments maybe. So I put my stamp on there. I'm gonna fray the edges with my weeding tool just so it doesn't look so clean and crisp. That's not my style whatsoever. And you guys, if you, what am I doing now? Oh, and then I'm just gonna tie this on, and that's done. And you can use these in tiered trays. I even thought these would be great gifts, and you could put a personalized message on the back with paint pen, or even hand write it and then Mod Podge it to the back. Oh my gosh, how sweet of a gift would that be? And I think that they turned out so good. I'm all about the details on this one. I hope it inspired you to make this in some way or another. This one. We're taking this Dollar Tree hanger from our summer collection thing, and I'm going to take the hanger off. This hanger was like the perfect color. Now this paper sucked. So once I peeled it off, like the first layer, there was all this white paper. What you're going to do is you're going to take a warm rag, set it on top of that for like 20 minutes. Then you're going to take either the towel, or I found using a sponge with like the rough back and going in circular motions completely took the paper off. This is what it looked like after it dried overnight. Now I'm going to take my crackle medium. This is Folk Art Crackle, and it's specifically for chalk paint. Take my chip brush, and I'm going to do even coats, trying not to make several passes over the coat. That didn't make sense. You want to just use one brush stroke, okay? You don't want to overlap over and over, because that'll ruin that crackle effect. Now I'm going to take my plaster by Waverly, and you can see how I'm just taking that brush and going across, well, except for here, I got chunks in there. I'm going across my piece. I'm not going over the same stroke over and over again. And I love this crackle medium, you guys. You see it working right away. I know there's Elmer's glue. I know there's tons of other options. This is just what I enjoy using. So now I'm taking those IOD stamps again, and I am going to be pressing them out. Now, when you, or if you get these stamps or have them, then you know they only come with one set. So what I like to do is place them out first, and then you have to go back in. So you could see I'm setting my A and my S again. I know they're going to fit there because I already did my placement beforehand to make sure they fit. And then I'll put that ink on there and then press them once again. And look at how crisp that is. And just so you can see what I'm talking about, for those of you who haven't seen me use these stamps, I am going to take all of them out that I need. So this is going to say Santa's Magic Key. And I'm going to place them on my piece
first. Now you can see I placed the hook back on there so I know where I can put these letters. Then I take my, this is actually a cutting mat. I'm going to take my ink, pat it, and then we will put that on. Now I am taking, I got this huge set of keys. It's from Amazon because when I first started my wood sign business, I made a bunch of these Santa's Magic key signs. So that's in my Amazon store if you guys want these keys. And then I'm just going to tie some ribbon to it. And you guys, I thought this Santa's Magic key was nice for those that maybe don't, like a grandma or an aunt or something that doesn't really have kids living in the house, so they don't want that kitty looking Christmas stuff, but they still want to bring like the magic to the home for their, you know, for their grandbabies or their nieces or their nephew, or even if you're a mom or dad or whatever and you don't like the kitty-ish stuff. This is a great way of still bringing that magic of Christmas into your home, but making it look a little bit more.
I got these formula cans, and you can use coffee cans, you could use soup cans, and this is how we are going to make our version. So I'm going to take the lids off of these, and then what I'm doing right here, of course, it wasn't big enough to just wrap around and make my life easier. So I wanted to get the middle part. I wanted like a specific part of the tile. So what I do is I cut the two bottoms off, the bottom and the top, I'm sorry. Then I go around and you can see I'm like cutting little slices in there. And this is just my marker for where to cut a cross when I take it off of my can. So you can see how like all of those little slits are right there. And then after I'm done with that, I am going to get I just wrap it around. I grab a scrap piece of that tile. I never throw away any of the scrap pieces of this stuff. And then I'm just going to fit that. I'm going to cut it down to fit that little gap right there. Now I'm going to use my detail hot glue gun, and I am going to put it on the bottom and the top rim, and then I put a little bit in the middle, and this holds up very, very well. My hot glue gun is the Lily one from Surebonder, and you can only get it on their website. Okay, so here is my little middle piece. I'm just going to cut that down to size. I don't want it too big. Of course, you guys, this isn't going to look like super flush. This needs to be the back of your Christmas tree planter, but you get the idea, okay? Now, after I'm done cutting this down to size, I wasn't going to show you the bigger can, but the bigger can ended up being easier because I was able just to take the backing off the tile and tape it right to it. Because when you cut the tiles up, usually the sticky part falls off of the back. Well, I was able to wrap it around, cut the top off, which is this excess right here. And then I'm going to take that excess and I am going to wrap it around as much as I can and cut the excess off of there. So you can see like the backing and the tile are not, you know, fully connected right there, but all I do is hot glue it back together on that edge. All right, now that I'm done, I'm going to do, you guys, I thought this was white. It is not my white paint. This was Crystal Lining by Waverly, but you can totally see how I mistaken this for the white. It ended up being beautiful, but definitely not what I was going for. So I'm just going to do one coat of this on each of the cans. Then I'm going to take my IOD in Stone Gray ink pad, and I am just going to pounce that over this. This is such an easy way of getting this like detailed, distressed look. I love it. And you can do it with any ink pad color, which is so cool. So if you don't have wax or you don't want to dry paint on top of these tiles, you could always use your ink pad. And this is how my versions turned out. So I love it. I love the round look. I think this big one definitely needs a bigger Christmas tree, but I mean, I could see these done in all colors, shapes, and sizes. So if you have a coffee can, then I hope you are able to make one of these and make it your own. So we're going to start this video by heading outside, I just wanted to kind of give my little tip that like whenever I'm doing wood projects, I like to do multiples at one time. So I will go through and kind of like write down on a post-it what exactly I'm making, and then I will go get my pieces of wood, lay them out, and then that way I can keep everything together, keep my measurements on track, and I feel like it just helps me stay organized during the process. So I think a lot of you guys asked about this sander, and I will try linking it in the description box. We got it online at a hardware store, so I don't think you could get it on Amazon. So I had my husband cut the spindles because I did not trust myself with something round because I thought it was going to shoot up and hit me in the face. Okay, so we are going to start with this humongous spindle post. Like I said, we picked up a huge banister and I had 4 of these, and I definitely wanted to put one of them to use. So I am going through with my Skill orbital sander, and I'm not necessarily trying to take the like shininess off or the clear coat or anything like that. I'm really just using this to smooth out any imperfections, the glue that was used on these, just to create a nice clean surface. Then I clean it off with crud cutter and a cloth, and then I will go back with a wet rag just to get the crud cutter off as well. I know that's a lot, right? All right, so now we are going to use some painter's tape. I'm going to paint the top of this off. Now I want to know, if you don't necessarily have one of these, you could always use a 4x4. You would just have to find something round to put at the top of your post. So after I'm done taping that, I'm going to grab, I think this is Candy Apple by Rust-Oleum, and I am going to rattle can it. I know that sounds so bad, but this is just as good of a quality as chalk paint is, and it makes this process a lot easier. So that's why I chose to go with this, and I do have this paint tent in my Amazon store link. Now I'm going to take painter's tape once again. Now this had a lot of obviously curved edges, so I just tried my very best to, 1, pull the tape tight, and then 2, as I was going on those curves, sorry, my arm is pretty much blocking it, but I tried to press in. You could see right here. Oh yeah, Momo, hold on. Dog can't see or hear, but she could definitely bark super loud. Okay, so like I was saying, I was trying my best to like really push my fingers into those curves so that I didn't have a ton of paint going underneath my tape. And then I'm taking just a primer white spray paint again, and I am going to do this. I only needed 1 coat of this primer white, and again, it's by Rust-Oleum. Then you guys, while that is drying, we're going to make the base. So I cut 2 pieces of wood, 1 smaller, 1 larger, and I will go ahead and leave the measurements in the description box for you. I applied some wood glue to these, set them on top. You want to wait until that wood glue gets a little tacky before you try to shoot your nails through it, or your piece of wood is just going to move around. Now, if you had a hot glue gun outside, then by all means use that with it. That way it stays in place. Then I wanted to spray my base in this red color. Now you guys, I had to show this because it was pretty funny. So I knew I was totally capable of putting the base on the post, but you know, my husband, he's a little stronger. We had to push screws through. So I was like, you know, babe, can you do this for me? Well, my husband likes to overanalyze everything, and he wants to be super precise and exact. So he he spends so much time trying to figure this out. And literally what I would do, y'all, is I would have set that post on top of my base. I would have eyeballed the middle. Then I would have traced around my post. So then I would get the square, the size of my post. And then what he's doing right here is he's pre-drilling holes into the base. So what's happening right here is like where you would trace around the post, you're going to put 4 holes inside of that square. I feel like I'm not making sense. I apologize. And then because this is why he doesn't have a YouTube channel. Then we get some long screws, that's Montgomery, and we just screw that to the bottom, you guys. Easy peasy, kind of. And then I took the tape off, and I do clear it as well with some spar urethane in case I do decide that I want to take it outside. Now I'm taking that Skill orbital sander once again, and I'm hitting all of those edges. I wanted a distressed look, but you do you if that's not your look. Now for the top, I didn't want straight gold. That isn't really like my vibe, and I plan on keeping this. And regardless if it was straight gold or not, the kids still loved it. So I'm taking the gilded wax, that gold DIY wax, and I'm putting it on top of this just to give it like a nice gold sheen without going like too much on here. But that is preference once again. So after I cleared this, well, no, did I clear it? I think I did clear it. Anyways, we are going to make the sign for it. So I'm going to take this piece of wood, antique green, and then I am going to do a pretty good coat of this on the front, the back, and the sides. I then go to my Cricut, and I found this image in Cricut design space. So it is not my image. I just searched North Pole. That was it. And for whatever reason, I decided to use this Arteza transfer film. And yeah, haven't worked with very sticky paper in a long time, and I ended up having issues. All right, now I'm taking my stencil brush from Dollar Tree. I'm taking white chalk paint, and then I'm going to stipple this on to my my stencil. And I end up doing 2 coats of this. I forgot what I was going to say. Anywho, I do 2 coats of this. Again, this is Aura Mask 813 stencil vinyl, and it is in my Amazon store link. Now we're going to pull that back, and we're left with this beautiful image. I love this green. Now I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to put it on our pole, or spindle, or whatever. And I'm just going to measure on each side so that I know that it is centered on here. I'm going to apply some wood glue underneath this. And then again, once that wood glue gets just a little bit tacky and I know that it's not going to move when I shoot my nails through it, then I shoot a nail through the top and the bottom. And you guys, I love the way this turned out. I did end up adding like a gold burlap bow to the top that I didn't film, but this was a lot of fun. And like I said, if you don't necessarily have this big spindle, then you can get a 4x4, which can be pretty inexpensive, and Home Depot will cut it down for you. So I hope you enjoyed this one. I hope it gave you some inspiration if you do happen to find these on Facebook Marketplace, or maybe you have some in your stash. I don't know. So I hope you love this. I know my kids already love it, so I'm excited to put it out for Christmas this year. Now, I know it for another project. So this one, this is a birdhouse. You guys, the sticker on the bottom of this, well, I got it at Salvation Army, but it was from Walmart. Once upon a time, it was $8.98. These days, it would probably be like $24.98. What do you guys think? So I took it outside. I spray painted the whole thing. I taped off this beautiful, it's like a clear door handle. It was so pretty. Then I'm going to take some antique green, and I'm going to paint anywhere that was blue on this birdhouse with this green. The antique green is by Folk Art, and you could get it on Plaid's website. I think the birdhouses are great to flip because, one, you can usually always find them at some kind of thrift store, or you probably have some in your home, and they're very easy to just paint to make them more modern and updated. So that is what we're doing here. We're just going to give this birdhouse new life. It was super dingy and old. I am going to also paint the windows and the door this green as well. I give 2 coats of the green to darken it up a bit, and then we're going to do, a little bit more here as well. And then I decide to paint the cross on the top with ink by Waverly. I just wanted it to be a different color, stand out a little bit more. So
And that is why I chose the black color. Gold would have looked really nice on this too, but you do you if you have a birdhouse. Now, I wanted a stained glass look so badly. So I found these stencils in my stash from Dollar Tree. I got the gold wax by DIY. I got one of my stencil brushes, and I am just going to kind of brush that on, pounce it on, and I'm just going to move down with that stencil. And look at this, y'all. Does that not look good? I mean, it does give you the stained glass vibes. I did this to both sides of the birdhouse, and I just think it gives it that little bit of detail that it needed, so it's not so plain. And look at that. Oh, I love it. And I love the shininess from the gold. Now I wanted something, you guys know I'm extra. I wanted something a little bit more. So I got that same piece. I'm going to put it over the door, and I wanted just like it to look like a little window pane on the church door. So I just pounced a little bit in the middle of that stencil, and look, does that not look so cute? And because I wanted to add more, I take that dark wax and I'm going to outline the top of this church. And then I'm also going to put it on, which hopefully I show you, these spindles of this church as well. I wanted the main body to be very white and pronounced. And then I wanted like the spindles, which I don't know, when I think of spindles, I think of, older things. I wanted those to be more like distressed, almost like a dirty look. So I grabbed that dark wax, I put it on there, and then I took my paper towel and kind of just rubbed it in to the spindles right there. And I did that as well with like the stairs, things like that. So I hope you guys, this video inspired you. I can't wait to show you how this turned out, because I'm pretty sure I'm going to keep it in my house this holiday season, because I'm going with like this green, black, gold theme for Christmas, at least in the living room. The kids get all their other colorful stuff, of course, but just look at how it was brought to life from like a white and like blue old $8.98 Walmart birdhouse to this gorgeous piece that you would think you would find at Kirkland's or something. So you guys, I hope you enjoyed this. Please make sure to check out it starts baby channels, jumpers, all of it. Actually washed my hair. Smells good. Very pasty and like I'm very old. It's okay. Please beware, not beware. Please, no. Set the baby on the hip again. We have a doctor's appointment at 10:45, so we have to skip our nap. So somebody is getting cranky. So she doesn't want to be set down. So here she is in the shop once again. Are you looking at Tinkerbell? Montgomery. Hi. Can you say hi to everyone? Can you say hi? Look at my cool hairdo. Huh? My cool hairdo. Yeah. Okay. Let's get you up. Yes? You already ate. So let's keep going. Keep going. What? Let's keep going. We haven't even started. Okay. Hey everyone. Hey. Hey. This energy is brought to you by Recovery Rockstar. Yeah, my mom needs that trick. Their flip road trick. Okay. Let's see if I can do this off of memory. And yes, I'm wearing the same clothes and the same hair and everything as I was in my last video. Okay. Boxes are everywhere. Boxes. I see like boxes. There's trash can lids. The wind's going crazy, crazy. Okay.
Remember, I'm moving, okay? But we'll still come back with content. I'm gonna be unpacking as fast as I can, but also trying to organize at the same time. Okay, you see how fast I'm talking? We gotta go.
You're blocking the whole thing. Come here. Come here. You're ruining it. Maybe if you were sitting at the desk, that would be really cool. No. They don't want you in their promo. They don't want you. You're not a part of the collaboration. No, I have lipstick on. Get away. Since you won't sit down by yourself for a little bit, you have to be in it with me. All right, we're gonna make this. Are you just totally focused on yourself? Hello. Okay, let's do this. Do. Do. You're so funny. Okay. All right, what's this? What's that? Wait. Hi. No. 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 Oh. So it's like, what are you doing? Okay, let's go. Help! Nom, nom. I tried covering it with box dye and needed my husband's assistance, and I still missed like a big gray spot right there. Okay, but and it's supposed to be like deep burgundy. Do you guys see any of that? Besides my like, oh, kind of in the sunshine, hey?
All right, y'all. I hope you guys are just as excited. I say y'all and then I say you guys. That makes no freaking sense.